Welcome back, guys, to another edition of TP Sports Focus. This time we're going to be talking about the NFC Championship game between the Seahawks and the 49ers. Now, I know this is a tough game to bet on. I wouldn't bet on it personally. Way too close. You got I think the two best teams, hands down, in the NFC today. And they're squaring off to see who goes to the Super Bowl and represent the NFC. It's really a toss-up. I would, however, I'll give you my prediction at the very end. I think I know who I'm taking. It's really a toss-up, to be quite honest, but I do have my reasons for who I picked. So let's start off. When these two teams first met, Seahawks won 29-3, and it was really a beatdown in every way. Now, either one of the offenses really played well. The defenses are what made the game. Russell Wilson, 142 yards, a touchdown, a pick. Didn't really have his best stuff early in the season. This was in September. Teams are still getting going, learning their offenses, getting into the swing of things. Didn't really have a good game. But even worse than him was Colin Kaepernick, who went for 127 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Didn't have a good game. Frank Gore, 9 carries, 16 yards. Marshawn Lynch, he had an alright game. He went for 98 yards on 28 carries. So still, 28 carries, 98 yards. Wasn't terrible. Wasn't a bad game. They kept to their game plan, running the ball, and they eventually got some yards with it. Now, the second time these two teams met, well, let's go back to the first matchup really quick. And Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, and Earl Thomas all had interceptions in that game. We've been talking about Seattle's defense all year long. It's the best defense in the NFL, hands down. If you think I'm wrong, I'd love to see it down below in the comments, because I could argue against it. I would argue against it to just about anybody, unless you can give me some stats and some proven way that they are not the best defense in the league. I'm confident they're the best defense in the NFL. Now, you go to San Francisco, and they have a great defense as well, so I'm not taking anything away from them. I believe they're 5th in the league to Seattle's 1st. They're two great defenses. Defense is what wins championships, and there's no surprise these two teams, these two defenses, find themselves playing to see who represents the NFC in the Super Bowl. Their second matchup, neither one of the quarterbacks, they improved a little bit, but neither one of them played much better. Kaepernick, him and the 49ers won that game 19-17. This at Candlestick in San Francisco with home field. Again, 19-17. Kaepernick went for 175, a touchdown, and a pick. And Russell Wilson went for 199 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Neither one of them had crazy good stats. Neither one of them did awful. It was more two conservative game plans against two great defenses, and they still tried to rush the football. Now, the difference in this game and the outcome, I believe, was Frank Gore. He went 17 carries for 110 yards. 51 of them were on one play, though, so it could, the rest of the game they really did a good job bottling him up. Aside, like I said, that 51-yard run. But he did go, nonetheless, for 110 yards, and that ended up being the difference, because that 51-yarder came late in the fourth quarter with not much time to go. So that was the big difference in the game, the rushing attack for San Francisco. Both of those games, keep in mind, Percy Harvin was not active. He did not play for either of those games. The first game, Michael Crabtree didn't play, and Seattle won. So, there's some back and forth here. Neither team was fully healthy when they played. That's going to happen. That's football. Now they're playing for the NFC Championship. And here are my 4 key factors as to why I'm picking who I'm picking. Number 1, Percy Harvin is back. Now, he didn't play in the first 2 matchups. He's back. That is not the most important, but that is a key reason. When you put him on the field, and on the opposite side of the field you have Golden Tate, that is a deadly duo when you take in consideration Russell Wilson is one of the best young quarterbacks in the football, and he'll probably be around for a long time to come. Number 2, the scary secondary of Seattle. I touched on it from game one, and it's been the case all year. When you talk about Richard Sherman, who's probably, in my opinion, the best corner in all of football, him, you got Earl Thomas, and you have Cam Chancellor playing in that secondary. This is one of the best secondaries, and I'm not kidding, this is one of the best secondaries that the NFL has seen in quite a long time. So the scary secondary of Seattle is another big factor in this game. Home field advantage. Home field advantage has been an argument for a long time. How big is it? How big of an advantage is it really? When you're talking about Seattle, I think it's the best home field advantage there is in football. They set the stadium noise record with 137 decibels this season. It is loud. Over the last 2 seasons, Seattle has caused their opponents to lead the league with the most false start penalties when playing in Seattle. That will be a factor, whether you believe it or not, when this matchup comes rolling around very quickly this weekend. But the most important aspect to this matchup, in my opinion, is whoever gets the ball rolling on the ground first and really establishes the rushing game is going to be the team that wins this game. And in my opinion, that team is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. When you get the ground game established, you can then go to your play action and start exploiting the secondary. And when it comes to that play action and exploiting the secondary, I just don't see Kaepernick, even with his weapons. We haven't talked about Anquan Bolden and how clutch he is in the playoffs, one of the best go-to receivers when it comes to playoff time. You got young Michael Crabtree, who can do some good things. You got Vernon Davis, who's arguably one of the best tight ends in football. All that aside, you still have the best secondary that we've seen maybe in the last decade, and playing against them, and all those guys, Chancellor, Thomas, and Sherman, are all able to play one-on-one and shut down a receiver, and that allows the Seahawks to blitz and not only go to that 4-man rush. They're able to bring 5 or 6, and with that one-on-one coverage all over the field and sure-handedness with those 3 guys, it becomes a time to create havoc for Kaepernick, and that's why I'm picking the Seattle Seahawks to win this game 24-21. I think it's going to be a very close game. I don't see this being a blowout either way. I think there may be a lead change or 2, but I really think the Seahawks hit the ground running just a little bit faster than the 49ers. That's going to force Kaepernick to play catch-up and throw the football more than they want to. Since they have Frank Gore, they want to utilize the ground game as much as possible, but I think they're going to be playing catch-up too much, and that's going to cause Kaepernick to make a few more mistakes than Russell Wilson will in the battle of 2 young quarterbacks, and that's why I'm taking the Seahawks. Thanks for watching another edition of TP Sports Focus. Thanks a lot.